This just underscores how reckless the Russian invasion has been and how indiscriminate their targeting seems to be. I mean, it just raises the level of potential catastrophe to a level that, again, nobody wants to see.
All the safety systems of the 6 reactors at the plant were not affected at all, and that there has been no release of radioactive material.
Russia's capture of Ukraine's largest nuclear plant has raised global alarm. Early this morning, the International Atomic Energy Agency announced that their incident and emergency center is in full 24/7 response mode since Ukraine announced that Russian forces have taken control of their Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. There has been no release of radioactive material. Reports suggest 2 people were injured. Well, here at home, the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission, Canada's nuclear regulator, has been carefully monitoring the events. The agency notes there is no immediate radiological threat to the regions surrounding these facilities or to Canadians. But the group adds, and I quote here, "We support Canada's status as a member state to the International Atomic Energy Agency and share in their grave concern regarding the ongoing situation and the risk to nuclear facilities." With more on this tonight, we're joined by Romina Velshi, President and CEO of the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission. Romina, thank you so much for joining us during what is a crisis situation around the world. And of course, you represent the Canadian contingent here. So I want to start off with what you've said in a statement today. You are monitoring the events at a nuclear plant in Ukraine and are working with federal and international counterparts. What role does the CNSC have within the international energy community? What are your obligations?
So when it comes to nuclear sector, it is very much an international community. We have an adage that a nuclear accident anywhere is an accident everywhere. And so the whole global community has come together not only to monitor what the situation is, but how can we support it and how can we make sure that things don't escalate. So for this particular incident, particularly after last night, we have enhanced our monitoring. We have started greater collaboration with our international counterparts. Early this morning, I met with my international counterparts to share with each other what information we have, how we can collaborate further, how we can support the Ukrainian regulator more, as well as support the International Atomic Energy Agency more.
Romina, but in terms of monitoring the situation as the Canadian contingent, what does that mean in terms of your role?
So it is one to just see how the incident is evolving, how it can potentially evolve, what are the different scenarios that this can get into. There are monitoring systems around. We keep track of that. The International Atomic Agency is the primary source, the main source of information for us. It's very good at getting verified, accurate information and disseminating it. And so we keep track of what is going on, how things are likely to unfold. And certainly with our federal counterparts, we try to make sure that we try to anticipate what can happen to Canadians, not only in Canada, but Canadians who are in Europe as well. And so the monitoring is of the incident, of the potential incident, and particularly around what the hazard is and could be.
How dire is the situation? I mean, how concerned are you? We had a clip from Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby, and he also said earlier today, nuclear power plants are not designed to withstand combat. How concerned are you?
So we heard DG Grossi of the IAEA just say that right now things are safe, not only in the, in Ukraine, in the immediate vicinity, and certainly for Canadians, there is nothing to be worried about. It's the question of if the war escalates, how bad could things get? And if you look at what happened last night, there's a projectile that hits an auxiliary facility next to this very large nuclear establishment. So not one of the reactors, but a training facility close by. And there was a fire which got put out by the local fire brigade. If that projectile had hit one of the reactors, our assessment is things would not have been bad. These are modern nuclear facilities that are designed to withstand plane crashes, for instance, that things would have been okay. But it is this continuous, and as I said, if things escalate and if things got really bad, how bad could things be? And those are the kinds of things we're trying to model, trying to anticipate, trying to assess.
How bad could things be? I mean, Romina, we have staff, Ukrainian staff, at this power plant who are continuing their role and their job, from what we understand. And reportedly, according to the International Atomic Energy Agency, 2 workers there were injured. Their well-being is of great concern. Of course, it sounds like that these workers at this plant are being held prisoner by the Russians, who have taken over control of this plant. How dangerous of a situation is that?
So it is definitely a grave situation, and you're exactly right. The Russian forces have taken control of the facility, though it's still being operated by the Ukrainian operators. The 2 people who got injured yesterday, my understanding is they were security guards, so not part of the operating crew. And so the operators continue, and as you said, these are very unusual, stressful circumstances, and you would have probably heard Director General Grossi talk about his concerns. One, paying homage to these workers for their courage, for their commitment, for their resilience, but also recognizing that these are very, very stressful circumstances. And as I said, the longer it goes, the worse the situation could become.
And because, Romina, you mentioned that you had a meeting with your international counterparts as well today, I want to ask you again about the Canadian impact or role. We know that the EU has considered energy sanctions. The U.S. has said they are open to that. Is that something, in terms of the knowledge you have, that would be considered from a Canadian perspective?
So I can speak on this from a Canadian nuclear regulator's perspective. And as I said at the outset, we collaborate greatly internationally. And when it comes to nuclear safety, it is in everyone's interests, whether it's the protagonists or the ones on defenders. No one wants the situation to get out of control. So with my international counterparts, we are sharing our expertise. We've offered it to the Ukrainian regulator and the IAEA. We're sharing our modeling results. We're, as I said, we're truly working in collaboration with them. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask you as well, Romina, about something the UN said today. They said attacks on nuclear sites contravenes international law. The U.S. Embassy in Kyiv posted earlier today saying it is a war crime to attack a nuclear power plant. Can you clarify what law is being violated here, and does this constitute a war crime?
That's not an area, sorry, Christina, that I can talk about, but I can share something with you, which is what the International Atomic Agency and Director General Grossi is trying to do. He's trying to get both sides together at the table to talk about how can they collectively make sure that the nuclear facilities in Ukraine are safe and secure. And I wish him well. I think the whole world wishes him well, and hopefully they can reach some kind of resolution because these nuclear facilities do need to get protected.
Mm-hmm. And Director General Grossi, this is the Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, has said he will travel to Ukraine, is his intention, and he has been speaking out on the matter. And we thank you for speaking out as well, Romina Velshi, who is with the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission. We appreciate your time tonight as you continue to monitor this crisis situation overseas. Thank you so much for sharing some of your expertise with us tonight.